Imagine a new kind of investing, a potentially life-changing way to invest that honors biblical principles, the kind of principles that you and I grew up with. Since 1994, Timothy Plan has made biblically responsible investing possible, offering mutual funds and ETFs that are filtered for biblical principles. Don't compromise your values. Invest with Timothy Plan. Ask your financial advisor or call Timothy Plan at 1-800-TIM-PLAN. Again, that's 1-800-846-7526 and discover what it means to be a biblically responsible investor. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Before investing, carefully consider a fund's investment objective, risks, charges, and expenses contained in the prospectus available at timothyplan.com. Read carefully before investing. Mutual funds distributed by Timothy Partners Ltd. and ETFs distributed by Foreside Fund Services LLC. As a paid testimonial, there is no guarantee of future performance and each experience will differ. Well, hello again. Welcome to another MemoPOD here on the, what is this? On a Friday. It's weird now because it's been a couple weeks, and so I feel like there's a lot to catch up on, but I wrote about it in the memo, and so if you are a paid subscriber, of course, you got that memo on Monday that kind of filled you in about the heart bypass surgery and the vacation and the banquet with Ali Stuckey and, what was the other thing? Oh, the selling of the house and all of that, which is the reason why, again, we are on location. We will be in a temporary setting here, a patriotic one, with, over here, Justin Bieber and James Dean. I can't do this backwards. I'm looking in the mirror. James Dean up there. You can't see their faces, but that's who it is. And then on the other side, I got George W. Bush and Danica Patrick and Barack Obama over there. Elvis and Donald Trump are on that side also. I got the Pope over there and Taylor Lautner. He's some actor. Ronald Reagan's on this side. It's just an eclectic array in the room. But anyway, so that's what's going on. I am in a temporary location with my cardboard cutouts until such time as we can reestablish our home base, which will hopefully be soon. But if you read the memo on Monday that got sent, then you kind of you're up to speed on everything that's going on. But it has been a couple weeks, and so because of that, I want to catch up on some stuff that I think that we need to talk about. First of all, the Black Lives Matter movement. Are we all now in agreement that the organization, that the institution, that the movement itself and its political cause, that they have completely now delegitimized themselves, as if all of that should not have already occurred, as if we already shouldn't have known that this is an organization of largely thieves? And I'm not talking about all of the people who shared the phrase Black Lives Matter or who believe that black lives do in fact matter. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the political organization, the ones that have raised money and have spent it on themselves, the executive directors, the ones that have chapters in various cities like the Chicago chapter that just, what was this, a couple days after Hamas terrorists went in and hacked up over 1,000 Israeli citizens, civilians, that they came in on paragliders, that the Black Lives Matter movement posted the image of a paraglider with a Palestinian flag over the top of it, celebrating the massacre. It's part of this oppressor-oppressed Marxist ideology that Black Lives Matter is built on and is built around. And so many of us, when we were saying at the time, this is Marxism, this is dangerous thinking, this is radical thinking, this is anti-Western philosophy, this is undermining everything in your civilization, what were we told? We were told, no, you just oppose this if you're a racist. No? Black people, Asian people, Hispanic people, white people, any other kind of people, native people, whatever it might be, who believe in the values of Western civilization, who believe in natural law and natural rights, anybody, regardless of their race, regardless of their gender, regardless of their ethnicity, who has their head screwed on straight enough to realize the benefits and the blessings of Western civilization, they in fact would oppose this movement. I mean, when I saw the hang glider image, of course it is shocking that anyone would be so brazen about their radicalism. I get the indignation that people had to it, but nobody should have been astonished. I mean, this is an organization that reveled in burning down neighborhoods, black neighborhoods, mind you, terrorizing communities, black communities, mind you, looting businesses, black-owned businesses, mind you, killing innocent people and security guards, black security guards, mind you. Why would anybody then be shocked when such an organization would come out as endorsing terrorism? No. If you expected better than absolute disgrace from the Black Lives Matter movement, a group that has proved itself as contemptible as what that movement has, then I can't help you. If you expected something better from them, you have just chosen to live in willful ignorance of what the organization stands for. Because what you saw in that image of the paragliding Hamas terrorists that they were celebrating, that's the ideology. That's what the organization believes in. So if you're unwilling to see that even still, then we're at an impasse. But what is far more alarming to me than the Black Lives Matter endorsing terrorism was how many people were stunned, were shocked to see supposedly distinguished Ivy League and other distinguished universities outing themselves as moral cesspools. People were just stunned. Oh, I can't believe it. Can't believe these colleges. Because I sit here and I wrote this in a piece for Not the Bee, that the collective descent of higher education into this morass of ethical turpitude, it's the best way you can say it, they haven't been hiding it. It's not like it's been covert and anybody should have been taken surprise. I've seen it in my little Midwestern town. How university culture can radicalize seemingly rational young people. It's one of the most depressing aspects of my job. It really is. How a grounded, rational 18-year-old with a good upbringing, they go off to college, they painlessly fall victim to the mindless conformity of the spirit of the age. To the spirit of the age. It's stunning. I see it in small Christian liberal arts colleges. You've got kids being churned out of there that are brainwashed malcontents, and they feel aggrieved for the stupidest reasons, despite a life of inordinate privilege. And you are seeing just how bad it's gotten, or people saw just how bad it's gotten with this, social media explosion of things that are going on college campuses. This is a statement from New York University Law, the Student Bar Association. Quote, Israel bears full responsibility for this tremendous loss of life. This regime of state-sanctioned violence created the conditions that made resistance necessary. There's so many stupid things in that statement that victims bear full responsibility. Full responsibility. This isn't saying, well, Israel bears some of the responsibility as well. We're not justifying it. No, they are justifying it. Israel bears full responsibility. Israel is responsible for it being attacked. Its attackers had no other option than to kill and behead babies. That's how dumb this is. Created the conditions that made resistance. We're calling this resistance. Here's Northwestern University, the Students for Justice. The instigator and perpetuator of this sustained injustice cannot then justifiably claim victimhood, speaking of Israel, when the oppressed rise in response to such oppression. Remember what I was saying about the Marxist oppressor dynamic? That's everywhere. It's Marxism, and it's all over, yes, of course, Black Lives Matter, it's all over college campuses. That's not just a buzzword. It's not just something conservatives, I mean, maybe it has been something that some conservatives have been saying without really knowing what they're talking about. But for people who are aware, I just... Yeah. Here's Yale anthropology professor Zarina Grewal. Settlers are not civilians. This is not hard. In other words, what Hamas did to the babies and the elderly and the innocent women and the men, innocent men, totally justified. It was an act of war because Israel is at war with Palestine. Here's Harvard University, some of their solidarity groups. We, the undersigned student organizations, and there were a bunch of them, hold the Israeli regime entirely responsible for all the unfolding violence. Entirely responsible. I mean, you can attempt to explain that 100 different ways. And you can talk endlessly about nuance and context, but it all boils down to the exact same conclusion. A significant portion of America's next generation have willfully become apologists for terrorism. It's not open-mindedness, it's not diversity, it's not critical thinking, it's not creative thinking, it's anti-thinking is what it is. It is uninformed, unscholarly, anti-intellectual emotionalism that's wrapped up in the thinnest veil of academic language that you could hope to provide. There's nothing smart about any of those statements. You are dealing with a campus climate and a campus culture on these campuses that I've mentioned that will bemoan microaggressions as violence. You wore the wrong Halloween costume. You appropriated my culture when you dressed up like an Indian for Halloween. That is literal violence. Okay? That's what's happening. Microaggressions are literal violence. And the same people that are saying that are concurrently at the same time rallying in support of people who kill Jewish toddlers for fun. Actual violence. Charles C.W. Cook put it this way. Take a listen. Can you tell this gets me fired up? Charles C.W. Cook, this is what he wrote. It is simply not within the normal bounds of human behavior to look at what has happened in Israel and to filter one's instinctive moral reaction through whatever goofy, spacious, ugly ideology one might have picked up in an overpriced seminar hall when aged 19. That's not normal human behavior. In their proper place, terms like colonialism or imperialism and occupation can be descriptively useful. As a response to the news that a bunch of armed savages have just massacred 1,000 innocent people in cold blood, those terms are utterly, disastrously, spectacularly irrelevant. Bingo. Bingo. And that's why I will stake my claim on this ground right here. And some of your kids would fall into this category. Some of your grandkids would fall into this category. Some of your friends maybe would fall into this category. If your unholy allegiance to this Marxist, like I mentioned, the oppressor ideology, if it has so addled your mind that your first reaction to the news that a ruthless gang of barbarians butchered babies, raped a bunch of young women at a concert, executed elderly women while live streaming the slaughter on the social media accounts of those elderly people so that all of their friends could see them being murdered. Barbarians slit the throats of fathers in the presence of their own terrified children. If your instinctive gut reaction is to go online and start posting about colonialism or resistance or imperialism or occupation, you are not sophisticated, you are not woke, you are not enlightened. You are Satan's fool. Satan's fool. Unable to make an even elementary distinction between good and evil. You have become evil, Satan's useful idiot. Useful, and by the way, that term has a meaning, a useful idiot. Somebody that doesn't realize that they're being used by someone who is using them. You're a pawn, and you don't realize it. A useful idiot. You are senselessly posting and prattling on about justice, while at the same time, you're making justifications and validations for its polar opposite, the embodiment of injustice, rape and murder of innocent people. That's why I am of the firm belief that if the West collapses, it's not going to be because it was invaded by bloodthirsty savages riding motorized paragliders into our streets. That's not the reason the West will collapse. The West will collapse because we allowed our children to come to believe that those savages were the good guys. That's why it happens. I'm interested in your thoughts. You can send them my way, peter@peterheck.com. That is peter@peterheck.com. Would love to hear from you on that. I've got a separate video that's coming out for Not the Bee this week that kind of encapsulates some of this insanity on college campuses as well. So if you check out Not the Bee, you can probably see that this week as well. It's stunning to me. It's stunning to me that anybody is surprised now that colleges are where they are. Okay, so that's it. For those of you who are free subscribers, that's all you're getting from me today, because I've got much to cover with the paid subscribers in the second half. Particularly, an exchange that I saw. I think this is really important, and I need you to understand, since the free subscribers I know are across a wide breadth of I don't know about political and religious, but certainly across a wide swath of religious or faith backgrounds, people that believe different things. Our paid subscribership is largely, predominantly, we're a group of Christians that are trying to help each other, build one another up in the faith, and also know how to navigate the community around us. I would love it if those of you who are free subscribers would want to join that. I think that you would benefit, and I know we would benefit from having you be a part of it. And you can do it right now. Just click on the link that's in the email. And if you do, then you'll be able to catch the second half of the MemoPOD today, where I really want to stress this, and I really want to dive into it, that Christians cannot, it is imperative that we not stop telling the truth about sexuality. It is everywhere these days. It is consuming these days. Talk about sexuality and gender ideology and all of that stuff. It is just everywhere. I mean, we've talked a lot about culture war and culture. This is beyond culture war. It is defining the culture that young people are being brought up in. And if Christians are not sharing the testimony to the truth, nobody's going to. It used to be that at least a predominant majority of the population was roughly in the same place as where Christians are on matters of sexuality. That even if we didn't agree on the reasons and the ins and the outs, and even if one group was maybe a little more willing to kind of turn the other way and ignore it, we all kind of understood that certain things were unnatural and improper and not good and not right. We're not there anymore. We celebrate as a culture that which is not right. And so the pressure on people who do not have Christian convictions to go along to get along is simply overwhelming to them. And they have no reason to fight it. They have no reason to stick their neck out and to be considered a radical or a bigot or a hater. And so they're going to go along with the culture. That's the way the stream's going, and so they're going to go that way too, even if in their heart they think, oh, this isn't really right. And that's why, in this cultural moment, Christians cannot stop telling the truth about sexuality. That's what I want to get into with some specifics and an exchange, just a really frustrating exchange that happened between Christians that I witnessed and we have to talk about. Okay, so that's coming up in the second half. Would love for all of you to stick around. Just give us a shot. $8 a month. Try it out and you can stick around for the second half. But if you don't want to, that is fine as well. And we'll be back next Friday for another edition of the free portion of the MemoPOD. You'll also get the Bible teaching on Wednesday if you're signed up to be a subscriber, a free subscriber. Paid subscribers, hang tight. Free subscribers, see you next week.
The Memo with Peter Heck.
Please patronize and thank all the sponsors of the Heck podcast, including McGonagall's Buick GMC, Terrell's Auto Service, Norris Insurance, Stevens Machine, Creative Financial Center, Indiana Right to Life, Tri-Green Tractor, the Indiana Family Institute, Hartman Family Farms, Liberty Financial Group, the Wyman Group, and J. Watson Creations.